Good morning, everyone. Up early, on vacation, and enjoying it. I usually don't wake up. I usually don't sleep in. I did yesterday. Today I was up. Um, Watched a video I shared or a little bit ago from Facing Addiction from Chesterfield County Jail in Virginia, and really enjoyed it a lot. It was a good video. They talked to a lot of people in jail about their heart program. Was by Facing Addiction. They brought it in. The sheriff there really was amazing. I thought he was inspirational, as well as the women in the jail in the program. Very inspirational on what you're hearing, and it's just thinking a lot. The sheriff said that we've been raising awareness for 5 years, probably more than that, but 5 years really hard, and it's time to turn words into action, which is what I named the post a little bit ago about. My friend Richard said basically the same thing. We have rallies, we have vigils, we have things like that, which are just really cool picnics, is the way he said it, and it made me think a lot lately about that. And he's right. They're great events. I'm not saying they're not good events. They're wonderful events. Great places to meet people in recovery, meet people that want to fight this crisis. And it is a health crisis. And I've been thinking, I was like, okay, well, actions. What kind of actions? Well, one big one is, at a federal level, the healthcare. We need to make sure that addiction and mental health are treated, and that resources are available to help people in need. I know from personal experience how difficult it is to find a bed, and how they treat you whenever you're going in for either mental health or addiction. Dealt with both of them, and you think, one of the things I know is a lot of times you have to go out and use to get a bed, because if you're trying to get clean yourself, it seems like they won't help you. You're clean, so you're not. The bed's not going to be made available. Doesn't matter that might be, you might be on the verge of using, and it's almost like you're being said, go out and use, then see us. And that just doesn't make sense. If a person needs help, they need help, so they get the help. Okay, they might go out and use. That could be their last time. Then you start thinking about everything that's going on with Narcan, and how the hate that is just out there, and it just infuriates me. I know a lot of other people feel the same way. And okay, Narcan's great, it saves lives, but we have to have another part of it. And I believe that a person that's revived with Narcan should be transferred. It's a suicide attempt. Anymore, it's always been. When you're using it, you're really trying to take your life. Now more than ever before. The substances that are available are just so dangerous and deadly. It's just horrible. You watch, I believe it's called Flakka, and how it changes their brains so fast, and it makes them look possessed and act possessed. So people, of course, rip out their video cameras or their phones and start videoing it and making fun of them. That's not what we need to do. We don't need to make fun of people. We need to show compassion and help people. So if a person is revived, I believe that they should be treated and taken right in. They should be detoxed, and they should be transferred over to a treatment facility. And I do say detox because I heard something interesting at a coalition meeting last week, and I didn't realize that the half-life, which is when the substance wears off in your system, on heroin is totally different than fentanyl. So Narcan's made to handle the half-life, so that whenever you're given Narcan, it stays in your system long enough for the heroin to subside. Fentanyl is completely different. You could be administered fentanyl, you could be revived, then you're sent on your merry way, and then a few hours later, the Narcan wears off, but the fentanyl is still in your system, so then the fentanyl once again acts, and you could be back into an overdose. You might not have even used it again at that point. or you may have, because the other part of it is if you get rid of this everything, you're going right away into withdrawal, and then you're what I've been heard described to me as the worst sickness ever. They say take the flu and multiply it by 100 or 1,000, the most violent sickness you can imagine. Everywhere hurts. You're just a constant pain. But if you revive somebody and you transfer them right away to a detox so they can be handled and medically treated, because it is a medical emergency, they're treated, and at that point you move them into a treatment facility. You move them into a treatment facility right away, which means beds need to be available as immediately. They have to be available for everybody, and you keep them in. Okay, if it's a court order to keep them in, fine. I totally am fine with that, because sometimes it takes a person getting clean and having their mind starting to come back and getting some clarity to realize that they need help and they want help. Because I know a lot of the people I know that are in recovery, and they may not have wanted it at the time, or they may have wanted it in the back of their mind, but they weren't able to do it yet. And we have to give them the tools. We have to give people the tools to recover. Okay, it's really important. So I think one thing that we should do, as I think about Richard and the sheriff from Chesterfield, is I think one thing we have to do is make sure we are contacting our legislators at the local, state, and federal level all the time and telling them we need help. We need to make sure that addiction is treated, mental health is treated, that there is resources made available. We have to innovate. We have to look and see what else is out there. We have to figure out other ways of doing things. We have to address this problem before it gets worse. One of the things I just read was that at this point, the overdoses would be like putting multiple Vietnam memorial walls in place. Think about that. How many people we lost during Vietnam, and how long, and the number of years, and now within a year, I'm reading that could the same amount. And the other part of this, I know it's a little bit of a rant, is the whole disease. Everybody wants to say, oh, it's not a disease, they chose to use, whatever. At this point, I don't really care what you think. Okay? Think it's a disease, think it's not a disease, whatever. These people need help. They're suffering, they're struggling, and they need help. Show compassion, show empathy. I'm not saying remove accountability. I never say that. I believe in it being accountable, personal accountability. We also know that by jailing a person, it does not work. So at that point, what do? Well, if you put them in jail, okay, fine. As long as there's a treatment program, maybe something like what they have in Chesterfield, that HEART program. So whenever they're in jail, they're being treated, and they are being, everything's being taken care of, so that we are preparing them to come back into society. We want people to be part of society. By pushing them out and constantly putting them down, then we're not doing anything except for making things worse. Okay, you might not know somebody, but the thing about it is you might not realize you know somebody that is struggling because of the way people are talking. So they're afraid to come out. They're afraid to get out there and say, you know what, I need some help. I'm having a really tough time. And we do that with mental illness all the time. We do that with depression. We do that with anxiety. We do that with so many things. We need to make people feel welcomed. We want them part of our society. We want them to get the treatment they need so they could then become contributing members of society. You want to bring up the dollars and cents of it. You start getting the people help. They're able to recontribute back in, and at that point, they contribute to the financial well-being of our society, and we can lower down costs. The costs are going to get a lot worse. So, thinking about it, I've looked up Narcan. Narcan's about $145 I find on GoodRx, which provides discounts. Middletown, which that one councilman made his proposal about 3 strikes, is saying $1,000 for, that's EMS, the whole 9 yards with overhead. $1,000. I'm sorry, I can't put a price on a life. I cannot put a price on a life. Okay, and I also don't like comparing it to cancer, or EpiPen or anything like that, because I think that all medical emergencies should be treated. It's a medical emergency, you treat it. If it comes down to a heart defibrillator, if it comes down to an EpiPen, it comes down to whatever, insulin recovery, insulin shock, all of that. Now you look at that though and think about this. Did that person having a heart attack, having needing insulin, having diabetes, did they make the choice? Did they follow doctor's orders? If they were told, hey, you're in that position because you smoked, because you overate, because you did this or whatever, and you're not continuing to do that, so we do 3 strikes on them also? No, we don't. Of course not. That's stupid. You know, medical emergencies are treated, period. That's what we live in. We help people. We are compassionate and we try to help people. I'm so tired of it. So just like Richard said, you know, we have to get actions. Write your legislators, write the president, write senators, write everybody, councilmen in your local areas. Tell them we need help and we need resources available. Treat this and do it right. Stop talking about it and put your words into actions. Okay? And anybody could help. Anybody could help by just showing compassion. That's all. You show compassion, that's a huge difference. By stop calling them junkies, that's a huge difference. By welcoming them, by noticing when people are struggling, because everybody's going to say, oh yeah, I'm all great and dandy. You know, I do that all the time, and I suffer with depression. I go through some major depression swings. Okay, but I talk about it, and we need to help people. I'm so fed up with it. I'm so fed up with it. On a little positive note here, though, I'm excited. I'm going to be going to an event in Monongahela, PA, that my friend Kathy is hosting. I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to have the phone there to do some videos and hopefully film some the shine of how powerful recovery is. And, of course, some of the losses that so many of us have suffered. You know, also registered to go to an event or a conference at IUP. My friend Richard Jones will be there speaking. My new friend will be there from My New Leaf, which is a recovery app. Yeah, recovery app. He's going to be speaking as well. I'm looking forward to meeting him in person and talking to him. I'm only going for a day. It's a whole week seminar and conference. Taking one day to run up there and check it out and to meet people and learn, because that's what we have to do. We learn. So thank you, everybody. Please remember to show compassion, show love. Don't put people down. It does not mean that you're not holding them accountable. It just means that you're not putting them down. We will be having a lot of great information soon about the Pittsburgh Coalition. Really excited about that, and about some new events and programs that we're working on in the schools. I'm trying with some wonderful, wonderful people. Nobody could do this alone. This is not about one person. It's about helping and joining and building alliances. You know, like I said, you have Richard in Favor, South Carolina. Amazing guy. If you haven't watched his videos, watch him. I link a lot to them. Shanda up in Ohio, I always share her videos. They're amazing. Her poetry, she's so talented. Tilo puts a lot of music together, rap. I'm not a rap guy, but his stuff touches my heart. You have Carmen, my buddy Carmen, in Westmoreland, Sage's Army. He's an angel as far as I'm concerned. He was there for me when I needed it. Not one more here in Pittsburgh, out of Beaver, as well as they try to do a lot here in Allegheny. They're doing a lot. My brother out in Westmoreland, or not Westmoreland, Washington County, MJ and Rich Sips, and they're doing stuff. We come together. I don't care what organization we're involved in. If you're willing to show compassion, you're willing to fight this, I'm going to fight with anybody I can to make a difference and stand side by side. I'll stand in front and block if I have to. I don't care if I'm attacked on it. It doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't matter. You know, I just want to help people. And that's all I want to do, and that's all these people want to do. You'll notice people in recovery, they have such a great heart. You know, I'm just so amazed with the compassion and the love they feel. My friend Bree and her husband Joe, they'll do anything to help people. You know, and I've seen it. I've personally seen it. You know, and it's just amazing when you see that. I have cousins. My cousins in recovery, and watching them jump and help people. You know, people in recovery are amazing. So let's help them. Let's help everybody. Somebody's struggling, help them. Don't whip out your phone and start videoing. Get them the help they need. Write to our senators, our congressmen, our counselors, our everything, anything in the government, and tell them we need real solutions. Stop talking about it and put your words into action. In other words, we will come into action whenever it's time to vote and get rid of you. If you're not willing to come into action and put things in place, we will stand up and we will make our voices heard. Not only at the voting booths, we will make sure at the voting booths that we are heard loud and clear. So have a great day, and thank you. Rest in peace, Amber, and everybody else that we have lost to this horrible, horrible health crisis. And my prayers and thoughts to everybody that's struggling still. Please know that you are loved.